Okay, as she said, my name is JeffCoots. I'm at Jackson Independent, and yes, we are bringing down the walls at Jackson City School. So, my project basically started with a problem. Our problem is our walls basically confine our students. And one other major problem is that arts and humanities have been cut in the way that we really can't fund a arts and humanities teacher. So what we did was working with our staff and stuff. So this is a K through 12 initiative. I came up with the idea and the plan of instead of doing a classroom redesign like we've done in the past, why not redesign some outdoor space? Take advantage of what we have and change that. And so using that, and you can see from the photos on the left-hand side, we had an area in which we actually had a greenhouse and some things that are preschool and kindergarten use, but they were having to walk a very long way to do these things. So what we wanted to do was take this space, move it to a place where it's more effective for them to use, and convert it. And so that's my project. I mean, it really is taking us some time, but I had to come up with a design. And I looked at a lot of designs. I thought there were a couple at EKU and some in Owsley and stuff. And I really liked the natural look because it really, it stays natural, and we have a lot of people that really enjoy the outdoors. And so these designs, and originally my first design was block. And you'll see here in a second, I guess I'll go ahead and some issues we had. Weather on and off has been really crazy because it just has been. It's hard to build something outdoors, especially in the winter time. The other thing is finding the block. And so my first issue is that the block itself, I thought we could get it free because, we talked to a lot of people, but then when we looked at it and stuff, it wasn't what we actually wanted. And then it took a lot of time, so we lost that time there. And then the other part was when we actually did find the block we wanted, it was so expensive. So then we had to reevaluate our plan. And so I worked with our superintendent and our buildings and grounds supervisor, and we came up with a different avenue, which is actually using cement to build this with. And so, first of all, we wanted a overview of our land. Of course, KVEC was really nice to let me use their drone. We took some pictures from the sky, and then we sat down again and we worked on some plans laying it out. But as you see in the photos, there are several things that have to be moved. Of course, that's working with some other people in our district to get that done. And so in this case, I work with their buildings and grounds guys again to get these items moved to a better location. And again, I'd like to thank John Henson, who was our buildings and grounds supervisor, and Charles, Dave, and Patrick, who actually helped. It took us a while to get things moved, and this greenhouse had to actually be packed from one location. It was probably about, I would say, 1/10 of a mile, but it was very light. But working together, we got it moved to a better location. And so that was our first little goal. After we got that little space cleaned up, then came the big issue of building this area. Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to cement in this magnitude, I'm not really that good a person to work with. I can do some little things, but when it comes to this, I work with their buildings and grounds guy. And as you can see, I wanted curvature in our design. And so when this framing started coming up, you start thinking, okay, this is really starting to take effect, but at the same time, you get really anxious because there can be a lot of things go wrong with this. The slabs of cement, which are 16 by 16, so it's a lot of cement that we had to deal with. But once that framing started coming up, and then when we had actually the cement truck come in, and they started pouring the cement, I started thinking, okay, is it going to work? And it actually did. So I was so happy when we actually got our first row actually done. And then I couldn't wait for the second row. But what happens is whenever you build this, you actually have to go back and rebuild the framing again. So this did take just a little bit of time to do. And then, of course, they started the second row. And as you can see here, I took so many pictures. It was unreal as we did it. But when we got to the third row, I was getting kind of happy because this was all coming to vision and what I could actually see. And then we're at the process of right now of filling in the dirt in between the rows. So you can see here. And then what we're going to do is have grass in between so it gives it that natural look. We had a lot of discussion how far to make the rows and I think we ended up making them 3 feet from the slab itself. So it gave us a lot of leeway so students could sit, lay back a little bit, and so forth. So what I did in this time, and hopefully this will play, I actually created a time-lapse video of the whole process. So what I mean by that is these guys actually working. I think it's about a minute, but it was really interesting. I posted this on the holler already, but you'll see the cement truck and the guys actually putting the cement in and then building the next platform and so forth. I had to cut out the time, the nights and stuff, and I used the iPad, which iPads have time-lapse on it. And it's really cool because, I mean, once you see this, some kids haven't ever seen it done before, which I had never seen this magnitude done. And so when they got this done, I mean, we showed it to our kids and stuff on our TVs in our school because we had that through Student Senate. And I'll go ahead and click that just to go to the next slide. As this was happening, we actually had our superintendent and myself, we visited what we were having at that time, K-2 plays. Okay, and these K-2 plays were basically what we actually wanted to do on the stage, but because of time, we didn't get to do it at that moment. But our superintendent here is actually telling the audience about, this is going to become reality within just maybe a month. So for these parents and stuff, instead of having to be, our kids had to be bussed off our facilities to actually do this. We won't have to do that in the future. So that's a real big benefit for us. And like you see here, they did Dr. Seuss because Dr. Seuss was some big, it's Dr. Seuss month and stuff. So our kids really enjoyed it. The teachers actually helped create those pieces of artwork and stuff that you saw in the background. And then, of course, data is important for anything you do. I actually was kind of worried because I wanted to know how our teachers are actually going to use this. Remember, we're a small school. We have around about 20-some teachers. So when I did this, I created a Google form, collected some information, and the first thing I wanted to know was, hey, once this is done, are you actually going to use it? Because we put a lot of time into building this. And so the answer is yes, 85% of them, and then 15% maybe. And I think it's because they're kind of waiting to see actually what they can actually do with it. But I was really impressed with that. And then we also collected some of their sayings and stuff. Like, I'm really excited about getting this completed. I know our teachers and staff will definitely use this for many different reasons. The amphitheater is going to be a great addition to our school. Years back, we put a gym on and it was really good, but now we've got this piece coming. It'll help benefit and enhance our students. And the last one I liked here when it pops up said, Mr. Coots, you rock. So I thought that was pretty cool because, I mean, you don't get that feedback from the staff and stuff, but, just these little words of encouragement and stuff. Other data that I did collect was like, how would we use it? I actually had some ideas of what I thought they might do: story time, book reading, student performances, outdoor classroom, which you'll see is like 70% of what they really want to do. You have a break from the classroom because, we really do, but at the same time, that break would be more maybe a sit, read and stuff. And then family night, because that was something. But then they also said they would use them for performances or speeches, dance, picnic, show and tell, student rewards, and then fundraiser movie nights. So we're looking at this also to make money, too, to help our school. And then if it had Wi-Fi, would you use it? 100% said yes. So it actually does have Wi-Fi. So we're going to get a lot more use out of it because we do have Chromebooks and iPads in our district and stuff like that. And then what's next? We have to finish the construction of the 3 rows. Basically fill the dirt in. And this morning our superintendent just actually texted me a picture of the guy actually filling the dirt in there and then planting the seeds. Work with their staff on scheduling those events. And then phase 2, which budgets, I mean, when I had to switch to cement, it actually cost me more than what I wanted to do. So, but our superintendent says, hey, we're making that a priority next year. We're hoping to have maybe a 12 by 30 stage so that those performances can go on. And so just to give you a side view of what it looks like, this was the concept design that we had came up with. This is actually how it looks. And it kind of looks like that, except without the stage, which will come, reality next year. So, thank you for your time. Hope you learned a lot.